first of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Dixon Tang. I'm based in Singapore, and I'm the author of this book, Leadership for Future of Work, right? 9 Ways to Build Career Edge Over Robots with Human Creativity. I'm very happy and very honored today to have the opportunity to be the moderator for today's discussion sessions with all of you. And so feel free to connect with me, and I'm happy to answer all your questions related to creativity, future of work. Happy to connect. And personally, I want to thank every one of you for joining today. So personally, I've prepared some small gift for all of you, right? So if you like, you can check it out, right? So this is my little goodwill for all of you, right? Thank you for joining today. Now, for today's session, what is the agenda for today? We are going to have like 4 sessions. First session, I'm here to do the opening, and I'm also going to introduce our expert community for today. And then after that, we will go into the individual panelist sharing session. And then after that, we will have the open panel discussions among the panelists. And of course, we have the Q&A session. So that's the program for today. Right? Now, of course, today's theme is about how SMEs should adapt if COVID-19 is here to stay. Right? So I'm very excited to present to you our expert community for today. So we have Junwei, who oversees Alibaba Cloud's big data products and services in Singapore, Thailand. Then we also have Edric, technical director from SCASH. Hi, Junwei. Hi.
Hi.
And we have Edric. Hi, Edric. Hi, Edric. Thank you. Then we have Jin Zhong. Jin Zhong have over 28 years experience in the IT sector, and he has found something special. This company allow you to create mobile apps without any prior knowledge in coding. So hi, Jin Zhong, thank you for joining. And of course, overseeing this, like we also have Claudine Ang from Alibaba Cloud. She heads up the marketing for 6 countries in Southeast Asia. Right? So I'm very excited to have the expert community joining us today. Right? So thank you all of you. Now, for me, why am I so passionate about future of work? Why am I so passionate about creativity? Why am I so passionate about upskilling? Because I believe in one thing. Right? I believe in one thing. I believe that, right, if you are not proactive, you are reactive. Right? If you're not proactive, you are reactive. Some of you may be wondering, hey, Dixon, how come your accent is slightly different, right? So yes, I grew up in Hong Kong originally, but now I'm based in Singapore. Singapore is my home. So no matter where you are, right, if you are not proactive, you are reactive, right? So my message to all of you is we all need to be proactive, right? So what if, right, COVID-19 is here to stay for 1 more year? So now I would like to invite Junwei maybe to spend just a couple minutes, like maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, just to share a little bit about like who you are, what you do, and like how your solution and ideas can help our SMU owner today. Right? So Junwei, let me pass the time to you.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Dixon, for the introduction. Let me start my video. So yeah, I think the fact that we are all doing this right now tells us that it's a different time. So I hope everybody is keeping well with this circuit breaker. So I'm Junwei. I'm a solutions architect with Alibaba Cloud. Right now, overseeing the big data products and services with Singapore, Thailand. We have quite a number of solutions actually that are not specifically targeted just for the COVID-19, but I think something that is striking more closer to heart would be, I would say, if you have ever tried to order anything online right now, groceries, products, anything, you realize that it's taking some time to even have a delivery slot or even to get the items in time. So as we are gravitating towards a more e-commerce, more delivery-focused type of a economy, the bit about logistics and delivery is something that I think would be getting more and more important. So I would like to share a bit more about our Alibaba Cloud logistics solutions. I believe my good friend Edric will share more about the e-commerce parts later. So let me try to minimize. All right, so I hope you can see my screen right now. It says Alibaba Cloud Logistics Solutions.
Yes, yes.
All right, perfect. So let me jump straight to it. So right now, okay, as businesses start to move towards e-commerce, I think you will start to have more orders online. And orders online means you need to deliver these orders. So the thing with delivery is that if you have maybe 10 orders a day, 5 orders a day, it's still manageable. You could still, schedule it yourself. You could say, okay, this delivery can be handled by this person. But think about if you expand to let's not say thousands, let's say 50 orders a day. You have to look at 50 addresses and you have to then plan who delivers what at what time, right? So some of your customers may have certain timing constraints and all that stuff. So this vehicle route planning solution that we have is to help these business owners to plan the deliveries in a more efficient manner. So the efficiency can be computed, set based on things like delivery time. You want to reduce the delivery routes, which in turn shorten the delivery routes, which in turn will save on petrol, save on other costs. So this solution that we have is actually a pretty ready solution. So working with SCASH, with Edric, will be launching soon. I think hopefully within the next week or couple of weeks or so that we can better service our small and medium enterprises in Singapore. Yeah. So this is based out of our food dispatch. So we have in Alibaba, we have multiple business units. So Ele.me is basically the Deliveroo of Alibaba in China. So this entire solution is based out of that. Yeah. So to quickly jump to the next one, I think Dixon only gave me 3 minutes. So if you are not in the delivery business, but you're more like a logistics or B2B type of situation, you want to optimize your container loading. For example, you do container, you receive or deliver out goods, and you are trying to make sure that you get the best bang out of your buck. So in terms of what to place where. So we also have a pretty straightforward API service that we provide that can do the container load optimization quite easily. So this is it from my sharing for now. So I hope we can get a bit more in depth, and please ask more questions, and let me pass this back to Dixon. Thank you very much.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Junwei, for the sharing. Thank you. So next, I would like to invite Mr. Edric Khoo from SCASH to talk to you guys a little bit about like what he does and also his solutions and ideas. Okay. Edric, time for you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dixon. I would like to thanks for SCCCI to organize this, and hope all the attendants now stay safe and stay home. Basically, I'm Edric Khoo, technical director from SCASH. What SCASH is doing is actually we're bringing future technology into ASEAN to develop it and cope into the whole market, not only for COVID-19, but we also have a solution to prolong business for all the business owner. That is where SCASH positioning is. All right. Without further ado, I'll bring in. I share my screen with the solution that today we bring to you. One of the solution that we have, we call that Next Gen ID. All right. Hope everyone see the screen right now. All right. So I'll just do a very quick introduction of SCASH. We are actually the Asian first to bring in all this smart technology to Asian, And currently we are actually serving about 400,000 merchants right now. And we built the first Alipay Mini program outside China. And that's what our profiling is. And I would like to start with a small story in here. You know, I stay in Punggol. I went to Punggol Plaza, you know, on the extension of circuit breaker on the next day, right? And when I reached Punggol Plaza, this door front, I see a long queue. I thought, what's going on? And I've been seeing some workers, you know, is putting up a scanner gun and scan your temperature and asking us to fill up all this particular on a piece of paper. And that brings to me not only on risking the workers so-called open up in such a manner of environment to serve the public, you know, and for the business owner or building owner, they're also hiring all these people with a high cost. For example, let's say $2,000 per man. You take 3 per entrance, and Punggol Plaza now lockdown only has 2. So basically, you're talking about 6 person per shift, and 1 month you need 1 day you need 2 shifts. So by a year, you're spending about 144,000 on just payroll and benefits for the these workers. By applying next-gen ID solution, you actually majorly reduce your cost into only like 20,000 plus some IT maintenance. That's all. So without further ado, I'll bring in this solution not only just for COVID-19, but also for our future businesses as well. Right. Just now we mentioned about the buildings and we talked about. So what this next-gen ID will do basically is actually done in US. It's basically they call it facial recognition, right? And what we're trying to do is to capture your facial recognition together with temperature and store all this data into Alibaba Cloud with encrypted security. Of course, it's also comply to our PDPA, right? Then, in all the buildings, malls, and residents, we can use our visitor management system to help them to manage your visitors' count and make it to be a safe building. The next one we were trying to do is actually put into the hospital so that we can actually use our queue management system. So by using the queue management system, you don't really need to go to the hospital to do registration, but you can do it offline or online, and only when the queue is done, you can come to the premises and scan your face, and that will preload your data to the so-called to the doctors and so on, so that they actually can get your the patient record way beforehand, and the waiting time will be a lot more improved in a sense. And thirdly, we're going to put it into retail, and this is going to help out a lot because a lot of us will forgot to bring mobile phone or you know, or bring the loyalty card, but you will not forget to bring your face out, right? So this will actually help you for the loyalty program, so that when you walk into the retailer, and this so-called next-gen ID will identify your profile and will help out the so-called the retail to understand your customer more and knowing them by name, right? That is a good customer service incremental.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Edric,
Yeah.
how can people know more about you, right, and your solution, right? What's the best way for people to know more about you and your solution?
Okay, the best way to know about us is actually to scan this QR at the end. But I want to bring this up because once we have all this data, we can build a data V to help out the you know, the owner of the building or the mall to understand their business more, to bring to the next future. So for knowing us, you can actually just scan this QR over here. Yeah, that is our website, and if you have any inquiries, you can actually send email to us as sales@scash.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank
you,
you,
Edric.
thank you.
Yeah, in view of time, please scan the QR code, and then we'll move on to the next panelist for today, Jinjong. So Jinjong, I would like to now I would like to bring on Mr. Jinjong, and Jinjong, the time is yours now, right? So can you like spend a couple minutes to share with us what you have and what's your ideas? Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Dixon. Hello, everybody. Let me just share my screen. Okay, my name is Jin Chong. I'm the Managing Director of Seven Network and a founder of Jet Workflow. This is me smiling very widely before the COVID-19. I'm not sure I can do like that these days. Most of the time, I run a company. Most of you would have known me as itsupport.sg. And if you need to contact me, my email is jin@itsupport.sg, and you feel free to search me up on LinkedIn. Today, I want to talk about speedy application development. Now, this is what happened on the 21st of April when the government suddenly said Singapore workplaces that are open must use a digital check-in application to log staff entry and exit. So as you know, many SME do not have this feature, and they're all scrambling very hard to try and digitize this process, right? So don't worry, we are here to help you. So one thing is because of this crisis, we learned that we need to go digital very quickly. As you know, Singapore has one of the world's lowest technology adoption rate. So we're here to help. So why do we need to go digital, and what's going to happen after that? There's no more time to wait for traditional software development, right? When there's something that's needed to apply, they need it right now. So quick to deploy solution will be the next thing everybody will be looking for. And the solution must allow you to make changes very quickly. And also it has to be cost effective. So together in support from Alibaba Cloud, we have very quickly crafted out a business continuity management suite for all the SMEs. It includes daily temperature logging, your employees' activities log, visitor screening, and also using Alibaba's data visualization to show you the overall picture of your company, what's happening. It also contains a simple task management, and it is also something that if you can spend a little bit more time, you can customize it very easily and quickly. So let me just show you a quick demo on how this works. If you go to alibababcp.jetworkflow.com/jet/coronavirus, you come to this registration page. All you need to do, now this is free to use, all you need to do is just register yourself, very simple entries, information that we need, and you are ready to go. Now, when you log in for the first time, you already get all these ready to use forms, right? You get visitor screening form. And this, by the way, is as per recommendation from Enterprise Singapore guideline. So say today you have a new visitor, what is his mobile phone number, last four character of the IC, nationality, his organization, what is his temperature, for example, it's 37 degrees, who is your employee that recorded this, any symptoms, and save. So it's all digital record of your visitors. Next, I want to show you is how your employee can take temperature and be recorded centrally. So you go to the temperature monitoring. So by the way, this is available from both iPhone and Android mobile devices. So let's say myself, Jin Chong, today, for example, today, if I'm a bit high, I'm 37.5. Okay, take my signature, confirm it, save. All right. So there you go, all the other employees. And you can also keep track of your employees' activity log. For example, you can just add what's the time in, where is he from home, what is the activity, working from home.
Wow, wonderful, Jin Jong. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful solution. Actually, if people want to know more about do a deep dive in this, right? What's the best way for them to know more about this?
Well, they should go to register an account first, and then from there is a README here that can fully explain what this does.
Okay,
but
fantastic.
What's one more thing that is very important is that with Alibaba support, you can then go to the data V, and you can then see an overall view of what's happening within your company.
Okay,
like where
wonderful.
are your employees, how many employees have fever, and how many visitors are there.
Okay, wonderful,
Okay.
Jin Chong. Thanks for your sharing. We are going into the panel discussion session really soon. So
Okay.
So I mean, like maybe later on, you can share with all of us, right, how they can know more about this, right? So okay, so now we are moving on to the next session for today, which is about the group panel discussion. And now, if later on we will have a Q&A as well, and I'm sure you have some question for Junwei, Jin Jong, and Edric as well, right? So feel free to type in your questions. And now, which is the open forum discussion. So I want to ask Junwei one question, and then after that, Edric and Jin Jong, right? I want to ask you this question. Actually, all of our attendees, right, they are all want to know about this, right? What is the one trend, right, you are seeing if COVID-19 is going to stay, right, for a year, right? What is the one business trend you are seeing, right? So Junwei, maybe you would like to go first. Like, what is one business trend you are seeing?
Okay, so I guess it's still quite linked to what I presented just now. I think the trend is we are of course going to spend more time away from other people, more time at home. So that means that all your habits have to be changed in terms of how you live, how you work, how you shop, how you play. I think for June holidays are coming up. Most people, if it was the normal times, most of us would be planning holidays and all that stuff. But now, what do we replace the holidays with, or do we even have anything to replace it with? So I think generally, right, what we are looking at now is trending towards more online-based types of services. So whereas you normally would be doing more things, more face-to-face business or purchasing or anything like that. Now you're gravitating more towards the online space. So that is the increasing trend that I think we are seeing. So just now I forgot to mention, I mean, if you're interested in any of our solutions, there are a couple of people you could contact. I think it's in the chat bar right there. So I'd like to introduce Ms. Sharon Chong. I think she cannot talk now because she's in the attendees box. So she's our business development manager for Singapore region. Yeah. So or Claudine is I think everybody knows Claudine, amazing person, doing marketing for us. Yeah. So their contacts are right there in the chat box. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Junwei. And now time for Edric. Edric, what is one trend you are seeing, right, if COVID-19 is going to stay for another year, right? So.
All right, Dixon. I would like to just say the one word, E, right? A lot of say E, yeah. So everything go on E. E-commerce, and then even I would say PlayStation, all these e-gaming are going to be increasing with their sales because everyone is staying at home. That is actually the trend will go. But of course, on top of the E, we're actually going to bring in automation as well. And these automations means, it match up with what Dixon's idea is, robots, right? So these robots can come with a lot of, workflow, or, the e-commerce can be automated rather than manually. In the past, a lot of things is manual, but now with this new E thing, I would say our technology is a lot smarter right now. They do the most of the human job and make it 24/7 rather than just using human brain and hands and leg to do it. So that is actually going to be the trend for the next 1 year if COVID could stay on. Yeah,
Okay.
And that's why Jinwei, Alibaba Cloud is actually we are actually the ISV for Alibaba Cloud. So we are actually a very good partner with them together, and together with Jin Chong as well. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Edric. Edric, feel free to leave your contact number and your website in the chat box if you like to, so that people can get to know more about you. Okay, thank you, Edric.
Sure.
And last but not least, Jinjong, what are you seeing the one business trend, right? If COVID-19 is going to be here,
I think there's going to be a massive tech adoption in the SMEs perspective, but it will be a mid-range average price kind of products and services. Because right now, I think everybody find themselves suddenly using a lot of technology to help support the work from home, the business continuity. So eventually, I guess it's a very good exposure for all the SMEs. And eventually, I think everybody will come on board.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Jinjong. And feel free to also leave your website and contact info in the chat box so that people can get to know more about you and your product. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I actually have a few questions I would like to ask you guys, panelists. So one question that I have here is, in addition to, you guys mentioned about the technology and also about the trends, right? Which is very, very relevant for our time right now, right? But if you are going to talk about, in order for the business owner, right? If let's say I'm a SME business owner, and let's say, or I'm the management team, I need to manage the SME operation on a day-to-day basis. What kind of things I need to do right now, maybe starting from this week, right? What do I need to do, right? If I'm an SME business owner or the leadership team, right? What should I do now? And anyone? This is a free-flow question, so no particular sequence. So anyone want to jump in?
From my perspective, I think the business owners from now, I think you should, at least if you haven't already, you should understand that this is probably here to stay, right? And perhaps put a call to Jin Chong and Edric to look for new solutions to help you manage your business, moving forward. Because I mean, business as usual, when you do a lot of face-to-face, a lot of manual stuff, right? So that's probably not going to be the most effective way, at least even we're talking about the short term, right? It's not going to work in the short term, right? So unless we can find a cure around this whole COVID-19 situation. But I think that would be a bit further down the road. Yeah. So I think now is a good time to look at these new solutions. I think Jin Chong presented something amazing, employee management. So those used to be in the realm of the super, large enterprises. Now it's within the realm of smaller businesses, right? So we're talking about technology that we can immediately adopt right now. So I think I will leave it to the two gentlemen to talk more about them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other? Yeah. What should I do if I'm an SME business owner?
Well, I would say the very immediate answer is actually get my contact in the chat. Email to us. We help you to solve your problem. Well, In SCASH, we also not only just for the next gen ID to resolve this COVID-19, we actually come up with a list of solution. For example, smart retail, smart F&B, smart hotel, and QMS as well. We have all this queuing system that is going to help out the current so-called situation for all the merchants, right? Without minimal cost to onboard them. In the past, you need thousands and thousands of dollars to implement technology, but with our smart technology, it's actually the barrier is very low. You can actually get on board very easy. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And Jinjong, do you have anything you want to add on in terms of what should we do?
Well, my advice to the SMEs is that you first want to break a big problem into smaller issues. Most of the cases where project fails because you want to do everything at a go, which is very difficult for SME. So break into smaller problems and then attack them one by one. It will average out your cost of implementation and increase your rate of success.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in addition to technology, right? How about the organizational perspective in terms of management, leadership, or like operational side, right? On the so-called soft skills or the management side, right? What should SME do it differently, right? In terms of like management and leadership, right? Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's the #1 rule that in every one of these initiatives, the bosses must commit. Right? If the bosses don't commit, then the employee will not follow suit. Second thing is you must understand the underlying cost or the hidden costs involved. Because most of the case, software projects goes over the budget, and then it creates a lot of tension. Thus, you will not be able to proceed smoothly.
Okay. What else in terms of leadership and management and operation, right? What should we do differently, right? If COVID-19 is going to stay for one.
I have one point to bring it up is actually the knowledge of technology of all these business owners. I would say we need to upgrade ourselves, right? We can't stay on with the 25 years ago type of business. We have to bring in new technology, smart technology to help out your business, and that's actually where our government is actually asking us to upgrade yourself, keep learning, right? That is actually the educations play a big part, not only for students but for employers, for business owner and workers as well. They need all these skills. You have the best technology in the world, but if there's no knowledge, you cannot perform it, you cannot use it. So education is actually a very important role, I would say, at this point of view, especially when you try to transform, a traditional business into a more digital field. Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
Okay, and Junwei, do you have anything to add on in terms of the?
I think you're looking more for like soft stuff, right? So I guess in general we have been living in a every morning your employees go to work at 9, they leave at 5 or 6, and I guess you get to see them, working and all that stuff. I think for the business owners, right, I think right now can be a super uncomfortable time where you have your guys at home and you're trying to make sure that they are working and all that stuff, right? Or make sure even not just that, perhaps it could be even making sure they are well, right? Are they having any troubles, any problems that they are facing? I guess so. Now is the time to at least, I think technology can help with some of that, but primarily it's about a shift in how you manage people, I would say, in terms of not being able to see them, in terms of trying to figure out problems before I think projects, definitely all projects have problems, but are you able to foresee, or are you able to have the communications channels with your guys for them to let you know early, right, when things are gonna be problematic. So I think it's a different way to look at management. So I think this one, definitely Dixon has more ideas from there. So I guess you should not be humble and you should give us some tips. How should we be leaders in the future of work?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Junwei, for that. For me, the way I look at it is like you need to have like a framework of doing work, right? So what I call it is a 3I model, right? 3I model, right? The first I, right, is what I call the individual mindset. That means that you have to know that, okay, if this is going to stay, right, what are we going to do? So you have to be proactive, and you also need to educate your employee, right, of this like why not mindset, right, to try new things, to try new habit, to use new technology, because without this mindset for change, right, you can't do anything, right? So first one is what I call the individual mindset. The second I is what I call the infrastructure, right? Infrastructure meaning that, right, you need to change the way you do things, right? Maybe something that works before COVID-19, right, definitely not working anymore, right? So you need to have this courage to change, right? Maybe in the past you rely on manual, right? So now maybe move it to 100% technology, right? Use this crisis actually as a change management opportunity, right? So that's the second thing, right? So first, individual mindset. Second is infrastructure, meaning the way you do things, right? The culture, your process. The third one is, of course, is ideas, right? Today's session is just a Kickstarter, I would say, right? You as an SME owner, you as a SME leadership team, right? You need to generate ideas together, right, with your employee, and also together with other industry player, right, to share ideas, to generate some new ideas, because the future is always unpredictable. So you need keep on generating new ideas, right? So as I mentioned, if you're not proactive, you are reactive, right? So in short, I call it the 3I, right? So now, in lieu of time, I would like to have just ask one concluding advice, right, from all of you before we go into the Q&A, right? So if you are going to advise the business owner in one sentence, one message, one sentence, what would that be?
Oh, me, okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm more of a Zen master here. So I would like to preach the topic of tolerance. I guess we should all learn to tolerate our family. I think if you are stuck home with your kids, you get what I'm trying to say. Tolerate your family, tolerate your colleagues. Things may not be as smooth or as fast as it used to be, right? I guess some of the face-to-face actually does have benefits. And I guess tolerate vendors, customers, you know, when it comes to the lead times and all that stuff. I think this is a challenging time for everybody, but I think if we all work together, of course, with the help of technology, then we can progress and use this, especially what Dixon said. I think I love that statement. Use this as a change management scenario, right? How can you take this as this catastrophe and turn it into something that you can drive your business forward or drive your individual, your family forward. Yeah, that's what I think is the message. Yeah.
Thank you, Junwei. And Edric or Jinjo?
I would say go digital, go automation. Yeah, stay safe, less interaction. I mean, not face-to-face interaction at the moment, right? Until the COVID-19 is done, then we can have our party. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jinjong?
I would say, let's collaborate and fight.
Okay, great. Collaborate and fight. Okay.
And fight.
Thank you. All right, then. So thank you so much, panelists. Thank you, Junwei, Edric, and Jinjong. Thank you. And now I think we are good to proceed to the Q&A session. So now maybe for the Q&A session, right, I would like to pass the time to Chris and see, right, what is, I mean, like, what kind of question you have collected on your side, and like, what's the best way to tackle them? I think we have more questions than we have the available time, right? So, Chris, any suggestions?
I think we have touched on a few tools over here. So I think there's one question on the jet workflow, right? So I think you may run your slides a bit quick just now, Jin Chong. So I think there's a question asking here whether it's free, and if it's free, right, how long is it free for use?
At the moment, it's free for use until 30th of September.
Okay, then what are the modules that are free to use? Is there any, like, are you selectively only enabling some, or is the whole suite actually available?
It's the whole suite that's available. It's a full-featured jet workflow. Yeah.
Can, sure. So I think okay, let's move on to the next question, right? What we have over here is I think there's one question for our moderator Dixon here. Could you actually frame for us what is the future of work in light of the COVID-19, and what are some of the specific elements of our new norm that will affect the way we work, and also help us to prepare for the future? I think probably just a summary from your side after listening to all the comments from the panelists as well.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you for the questions. Just now, the panelists mentioned a few key trends, like the e-commerce trends, automation trends, the mass adoption of like mid-range technology. Right? All these are very, very relevant. In addition to that, right? If I may add on a few trends. Let me share here really quick. Can you see the screen here?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So a few trends I want to add on, right? If some of you are doing the restaurant business, right? So probably you need to have this mindset of your restaurant will become a food factory in any time soon, right? So that means in that sense, maybe the floor space of your restaurant, right? You need to reduce, right? Or if your restaurant floor space, right, cannot be reduced, right, then you need to maybe sublet, right, part of your space, right, to do something else. What I call the work retail integration. So work retail integration means nowadays, right, a lot of people increasingly work from home. They work from anywhere, right? With the mobile phone, they can work, right? So sometimes if I'm in a shopping mall, I'm working, I'm on a conference call, I'm working, but I want a place to sit down, right? But if you go to the shopping malls, right, I can't find a nice place to sit down, quiet space I can do my work, right? So if you're a restaurant, right, maybe you can consider, right, sublet part of your floor space, right, to be a co-working space, right, so that I can work, right? So maybe this is just an idea. Now, of course, you may be wondering, hey, Dixon, can or cannot, right? So the answer here is not about can or cannot, it's about why not, right? Because in this special time requires special creative thinking, right? And at the same time, right, if you are in the tourist-facing business, right, if you are in maybe in the Orchard, Changi, or the Marina Bay Sands, all this area facing the tourists, nowadays you may want to like change yourself, right, to be more like serving like local community business, right? So you need to do a fundamental change, right? So these are a few trends I want to add on. In terms of the framework, right, that one of the attendees want me to share, right? So as I mentioned, there are 3I framework that I developed that can help you to guide into the future of business, future of work, right? So primarily is number one, your individual mindset, right? Your boss need to commit, your boss need to say why not, need to be open-minded. Right? Then next is about your infrastructure, meaning your culture, the way you do things in terms of technology adoption, using technology, using automation. Right? Then of course, the third one is about ideas, right? Always keep generating ideas with your team and with your industry player, right? So this is the framework I want to share with you. But in view of time, I don't want to go into too details, right? Feel free to connect with me and I can explain to you guys further over the phone or over Zoom. Yeah.
Thank you, Dixon. Dixon, thank you for taking a question. So I've just gone through the Q&A and found two questions specifically for Junwei. I think you touched on a very key component here, which is actually logistics. So I'm actually pretty glad to hear some logistic related issues because in order to kickstart the economy and everything, right, we really need to keep the supply chain moving. So I think over here, there's two questions pertaining to what you just shared. So that, he's actually asking you to see whether you can talk a little bit more about the container load optimization. Is it actually a software and how does it work? So carry on to the question, right, is another one is, can they actually have this system without their own warehouse? Because I think for this particular user, right, they actually have outsourced logistic functions. Yep, Jimmy, over to you.
Okay, so for the container load optimization for us, we provide this as an API service. So we are looking at packaging it as a more user-friendly service. So right now what you have is you have all your, basically the sizing information for your containers, and you have the sizing information for the packets and which order you want to drop them off in. So then from that information, we run our model, and then we provide you, okay, this is how you stock up your container based on the information that you have provided. So it's a API call. So this definitely can be made a lot simpler. That's why we are planning to work with Edric definitely to make this into a more full-fledged service. Yeah. So for the next part about the warehousing, so this actually depends, because if you like, I think they are more talking about the route planning portion, right? So I think for that part, as long as you are in charge of the delivery chain, right, then definitely, if you are outsourcing this whole thing to Ninja Van, then of course it's a no-brainer. Just pack everything and pass the whole thing to, is there a problem, right? But what I'm thinking about is some businesses, for example, you're in the fresh food business, right? Sometimes you may need to do like on the day deliveries. You cannot let it sit in Ninja Van warehouse for like 2-3 days. Right? So those types of services, I think what I'm seeing personally is the companies are still doing it themselves, and then they are being overloaded. Right? My favorite meat shop, for example, is having deliveries. Earliest delivery is in end of May. So that's something that personally, it's not the lack of the materials, it's the lack of delivery capacity. So I think with that, with this service, it will help them to optimize at least the delivery portion. And of course, as I see as a trend, we'll have more and more of these delivery service companies springing up. I think you see recently, which is a good thing. I think the government is allowing taxi drivers, Grab drivers to at least do deliveries of goods, commercial goods. So that actually is a step in the right direction, if you ask me. Yeah.
Thanks, Yingwei. Yeah.
Yep.
So I've actually got one question to Edric. I think over here, right, from the government emphasis about the whole COVID-19 situation, right? I think contact tracing has been one of the major thing that everybody is trying to do well. And it seems like with the government efforts, they've actually come out with a Trace app. But do you think that is sufficient? And I think if the situation were to actually evolve, right, even if this is just a government level effort, I think it's going to be impossible to do very good contact tracing. So how do you think businesses can help by if things are, if COVID-19 is going to come in the second and third wave, right? What is the best way to deal with this? And so that with a proper system in place, right, we can still go on to be so-called, not really business as usual, but I think at a managed level, right, things can still move on a bit. Your thoughts on this?
Yes, in fact, this is actually the upgrade version of just the app version, right? The app version is actually basically to allow you to enter to the premises, but you won't know the visitors when they're coming out, right? Or even some restrictions of building counts. For example, the malls only can contain 500 people. How can we know if we're just using an app, right? But with using the next-gen ID, we can count. We can stop at the 501 visitors until the next one exit, right? And all this visitor management system will keep track of the duration of these people inside the building, right? We don't keep contacts, but what we do is we keep their identity with their facial recognition. So, for example, if let's say this person, unfortunately, get in COVID-19 and went to hospital, all we need to do is just use the database, match up with the facial recognition, and we know where they went, where this person has been to. So we can warn these people when they're actually within the same environment. That is actually the upgrade tracing of this next-gen ID.
Thanks, Edric. So on my side, I think I only got one final question, which I see quite dim fit to actually to address over here, is that there's this question from Mr. Gabriel Leong, right, which says, how can I deal with documents like invoices, claims, contracts, etc., whereby auditors always insist to see the hard copies. And now this request becomes a bit difficult when we tend to scan most documents to cloud, and how to reconcile this. So I think going digital, right, we are really like trying to push the limits of how we can really turn hard copies to soft copies. But I think in the traditional realm, like auditing all these things, right, do you think that there's some leeway here given the situation? Jing Chong, you want to take up the question?
I think the best is to use Jack Workflow to quickly craft out a simple form where you can submit all your documents, put remarks so that you can search for all these documents very quickly. If it is not very complicated, it can be done within a few minutes.
Yeah, but I think the concern over here is with auditors. So let's say if I'm dealing at the end of the day, right, I'm actually going to perform audit for all my things, right? How do you think at this time auditors will take in all these comments, all these changes in process flows, and actually adopt and actually see this as okay to do this or whatever actually? Yeah.
It depends on your auditors. My auditor unfortunately still relies on a lot of paper and files, so I have no choice but to keep a standard original sets for them to audit. But otherwise, I believe that most of the auditing firms under the government influence as well are also trying to go digital. Especially in this work from home environment, I think a lot of auditors already open up the possibility of accepting digital format for audit. So I think things will change gradually. We just have to follow suit.
I see. So you also recommend, because I think since we're going digital, and especially if there's going to be an auditing process with the company documentations, right, it's best also to check with the auditors now, just to make sure that whatever they're doing right now, there's some modification in the process, right? All this is actually considered still okay, so that I think things are in line. You don't want, backtracking or whatever.
Yeah. But it won't be any time soon, because the auditors these days are also under tremendous pressure. There's a lot of government rules and new regulations that they are fighting very hard to cope up with it already. So
Okay.
this will not be a very immediate thing.
Okay. Ken, thank you panelists. Thank you for taking time to answer the questions, and I'd like to thank Dixon there for fantastic moderation with the panel discussion. So I think we have quite a few questions over here, which we will actually share from the Q&A. We will share this with all the panelists and actually come back with the answers, right, and actually insert it into the relevant deck, which we will actually share with the audience at the end of the webinar. So I think with that, we have actually come to the end of the session. Before we end off, I probably just invite each of our speakers here and panelists and moderator to just give us a quick word on today's topic. Shall we start with Jim first? Yeah.
All right. So I guess we covered most of the topics. So take care, everybody, and stay safe. And I guess this is a good time to really start thinking about how you want to run your business for the longer term. So I think one of the questions was saying that, everybody cannot wait to go out after circuit breaker, but I think the fear is that this circuit breaker and social distancing would be here to stay for quite some time, right? So of course we all love to go out and stop buying things online and start buying things in the shops, but as much as we love for that, I think we have to embrace that there could be a new normal. And this is already seen in China. I think we're seeing a lot of ramping up of sales online, right? After the COVID-19, even people are starting to do more self-distancing. Yeah, so I think that is something that we need to look at. So stay safe, everybody, and stay healthy. Yeah.
Andrew?
For me, basically, stay safe, fight together, be innovative, don't be afraid to change. Yeah, that's one of the quick slogan that we're gonna have, because definitely COVID-19 gonna change our life, not only now, but it's gonna be future as well. Yep. So yeah, we just have to quickly adopt to it.
Jin Chong?
It's gonna be a very long, tough fight ahead. So don't be afraid to reach out. Chun Wei, Edric, myself, even Claudine, we're all here to help. SME price promised. I I guess the number one objective for all of us is to see how we can help each other, fellow Singaporeans, our own local SMEs, to survive this crisis. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Dixon, final word of wisdom from you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I keep it very short. Okay. Do something, get going. Right? Do something, get going. So do something now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we've come to the end of the session. Once again, thank you all the speakers for your valuable insights. Especially, I think there's from this sharing, we can see that there's a lot of available tools out there to actually cope with the, so when business is, when we're actually going back to the offices, things can still be done to adopt certain things to make sure that we can still help out with the COVID-19 situation. So I think just open your mind to it and agree, probably explore it. And prepare for live after 1st June, hopefully. So with that, thank you everyone for joining us for today's session. We have a lot of webinars coming up at SCCCI again, so feel free to visit our event page for more details. So yeah, with that, thank you so much. Signing off now. Goodbye.